Welcome. It's your man God of Dots back with another Freestyle Friday, man. Hope everybody has had a very good week. We're headed into the weekend, brand new month. March is here. Man, this year going by fast. Hope, like I said, hope everybody's had a very good week. And I hope I can keep you entertained with tonight's content and show. Where do I want to start? Where do I want to start? A little bit of the housekeeping. We will be doing a combine kind of like recap some point next week. I got to kind of see what my schedule's kind of looking like. Hey, it is what it is, but we will be doing that. Of course, we still be rolling with the NBA content and any big news coming from the world of football. We will be talking about it. But tonight's episode, you saw the thumbnail. I wanted to kind of bring this topic to Freestyle Friday for several reasons. One, it leads into a larger, for me, I believe it leads into a larger discussion when we're talking about giving back to the community. Should athletes be obligated to give back to the community, and how should the community receive them when they do give back? And I think it leads to a much larger conversation outside of the world of sports. Also, major news. You guys know we've been covering the NIL situation, the updates with that. Do have a major update on that. Big news coming from the world of college football. I mean, big news when we talking about the NIL. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. Before we get started, how you doing, Miss Murph? As always, hey, get down to the one in the chat. It is what it is right here. All right. So before we get started, I do want to play a short clip. It was Shannon Sharpe and Chad Ochocinco who have they show they podcast the Nightcap. If you're not checking it out, I mean it's real dope content. I like it. I mean I like it, but they had some commentary. One, got it. Oh, hey, Gator Girl. I'm just looking at the counter. It get up to 4, 5, 6 at the most around here. But anyway, appreciate it as always. But Cam Newton situation, for those who are unaware, who have been living under a rock, Cam Newton was participating, hosting, sponsoring, or whatever you want to call it. The details are kind of convoluted, depends on who you ask. But he was participating in the football camp in Atlanta, Georgia. Fight breaks out between him and a couple of other gentlemen. I'm just going to use that word loosely. A couple other gentlemen who were also participating in this 707 camp. This camp was designed with a lot of football camps to, give players the opportunity to kind of pick the brains of professional athletes, run through some drills, work on some things that they would see at the next level. If they make it that far, Cam Westlake on them, hey, don't get it. I hate to tell people, man, don't get it fucked up. Don't think just they a celebrity or professional athletes. Some of them don't forget where they come from. But anyway, if you saw it, you saw it, and I don't want to replay it, but I do want to, play some of the commentary, particularly from Shannon Sharpe and Chad Ochocinco, because, you see this sentiment. I saw the sentiment a lot on social media in regards to, the Cam Newton situation, and we'll talk about it as always. Fair use and all that good stuff. Fair use. This is for review and commentary purposes. Let's go.
The 707 football tournament. Video emerged today at a 707 youth football camp about Cam getting involved. They forgot that Cam is not a regular human being like them.
No,
he was slaying guys single-handedly. I'm sure you watched it. We're showing it right now.
It's not about just watching this. It's not just about watching this one. Listen, young fellas, parents need to understand when you have someone like Cam Newton giving players an opportunity to display themselves at these 7-on-7 camps, you are supposed to be taking advantage of these situations. Many of times I have seen clips, not just forget this fight here. Many of times I've seen players, I've seen coaches, and I've seen parents disrespect Cam Newton at these camps, 7-on-7 camps that
I've seen it too.
Mm-hmm. I've seen it before. I've seen the clips over the years. You are supposed to be, as parents, especially as kids, soaking up as much knowledge as you can and talking about football and just how can I get to where you got to? What do I need to do? Oh, I'm just thinking about the camps I used to go to when I was a little kid. The Miami Hurricanes had camps in the summer.
Okay, let me pause it right there because I do want to continue with the commentary on this. Chad Ochocinco makes a very good point. That's the purpose of having these football camps when these professional athletes, not just with football, but just professional athletes, when they come back to the communities that they come from, and they host these events, they sponsor these events, they participate in these events. You should be looking at this as an opportunity to kind of pick the brain of these individuals, these players that come back and give back. You should be taking advantage of that. Hey, what is your workout regimen? What is your diet like? When should I, what's the when should I get into weight? I mean, whatever it is, how can I become a better quarterback, a better receiver? You should be picking the brain of these athletes. And the crazy part is about this situation, and I don't want to make it a race thing, but Peyton Manning and Eli Manning hold a quarterback camp and all of that kind of stuff on a yearly basis with some of the top quarterbacks in the country. You don't hear this stuff coming out. You don't see this stuff happening at their events. Just like Chad Ochocinco said, I've seen plenty of videos online throughout the years. So Cam is participating in, Cam is sponsoring this being there, and you have young players, you have parents, you have other coaches, other grown men who are participating in these events, taking the time to take shots at Cam Newton. You want to talk about Cam Newton's game, fine. I mean, it's there to be critiqued. What you put out on the field, people are able to critique it. But the one thing you can't take from him, you can't knock from him, hey, the fact that this guy not only was in the NFL, which a lot of players don't get to do, make it into the NFL. But not only did he make it into the NFL, was very successful. When you kind of look back on Cam Newton's career, I'm not going to put him in conversation for Hall of Fame, but the guy does have an MVP trophy for a reason. He does have an MVP, and a guy who's achieved that at the highest level you can reach in this sport. You should be taking that opportunity to learn from them, to soak up all the knowledge that you can. I mean, I would much prefer Cam get annoyed by me than me sitting back and disrespecting him and belittling him for doing something that he doesn't really have to do. He doesn't have to do. It's not a player's not obligated. How you doing, Dr. Nikki? A player's not obligated to quote unquote give back to the community. And like I said, I wanted to kind of bring this to the stage for a Freestyle Friday show because speaking of such, hold on for a second. Even though this is the corporate, no one comes up without it. Good evening, ma'am.
Hey.
How you doing?
I am well. So I wanted to chime in for obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
One being just enjoy coming up to the panel and chopping it up with you in this space. But so last Saturday, or was it this past Saturday, there was a video shown in another space about the parent coming up to the school.
Mm-hmm.
In a situation like that, like what you're talking about now with Cam Newton and the disrespect that was given, that's when that situation is appropriate.
Really?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Not with a child, but with my child who is grown, disrespecting someone else who is giving their time when they don't have to.
Exactly.
To impart wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Not talking about somebody who's still growing and learning and needs to be, nurtured and still going to make mistakes. This with these young men was deliberate and with audacity. Your ignorance should not be audacious.
Mm-hmm. Now, let me, because
and as a parent, it would make me want to fight them so hard in front of this guy who is giving their time. That's what I mean.
I hear you, and I'm of the same sentiment. I would, for one, I would be embarrassed.
To the utmost.
Be embarrassed that you would even allow yourself to even get to the point where you felt like not only am I going to be verbally disrespectful towards you, now I want to get physical. So I'll be so embarrassed as a parent, and I would be embarrassed, participating in any form or fashion, being involved with this. And I wanted, like I said, I wanted to kind of bring this to the table for tonight's show, because it kind of leads to a larger discussion outside of the realm of Cam Newton. We have people who feel like, I don't want to give back to the hood because stuff like this happens. I don't want to give back to my community because I don't feel appreciated. I feel at times disrespected by my community. And I don't want to say it's sad when you really think about it, that people are thinking along those lines, but can you blame them? Would I be mad at Cam if he was like, I'm never doing this again with anybody, in no shape, form, or fashion? Because like first incident of this happening, but I've seen plenty of videos over the years where players, are talking slick to him. You got other coaches talking slick to him, like, yeah. It never dawns on these people that, hey, this person doesn't have to be here. But I don't want people at the same time, I don't want people to get scared off from giving to the community for those reasons. But it's kind of like, for me, it's like a slippery slope when you really think about it. Because, if Cam said, I don't want to do this no more, I couldn't blame him.
Well, no, I could blame him for that, because I would make these gentlemen the example of why there are certain types of screenings that we can have, prior to allowing you to be a part of this prestigious event.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. And they would have been the example.
Okay, so that's the approach you would take.
No. Yeah, I'm clearly speaking for myself.
Yeah.
Because I've been in situations where people didn't appreciate the time that I was given. So it didn't make me stop giving them my time. It made me have conditions as to why I would continue to give my time with the same, situation.
Okay, and I hear you, but do you ever think that it's a line that it gets to the point where it's not even worth the effort? Do you ever feel yourself? I mean, and I'm just want to speak for you on your personal level. Do you ever think it's like, it's not even worth my time to even continue this? I put up barriers in place. I've try to make it where certain people can't get access to me, and when I'm doing these events in the community. Do you ever get to think like, the disrespect, I can't tolerate it anymore? Do you ever see yourself reaching that point?
No. And I say that because that means that environment had a bigger control over you than you had over it. I see myself as a change agent, meaning that I go into environments and change it up. Not I go into environments and those environments change me.
Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, with this, okay, I want to kind of like put a little sauce onto it. Now, let's say Cam was an active player.
Mm-hmm.
And he laid hands on them because they laid hands on him. Do you want to put yourself in a situation where you may be getting a lawsuit by participating in some of this kind of stuff? Because someone can say, you offended me, you violated me, you did something to me because I know you active, I know you got money. Let me get a bag.
That would have been in the clause. Anybody who lays hands on me, I will defend myself.
Okay.
That will be part of that contract that they signed.
I mean, but do you want to make it too? I mean, but at the same time, and Cam knows his community, the community you're giving back to. Do you want to make it so exclusive that your real target audience, you can't reach them because they can't meet those standards?
No, because it wouldn't get to that point. That's what I'm saying. It would be so. There's something in those gentlemen who acted out the way that they did. It's like that behavior didn't just start because they saw Cam Newton.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that.
So because we are creatures of habit, I believe that some of the reference, because I remember when I used to do summer camps as a student, mm-hmm. I had to get character references to support me being there.
Okay.
And what I have found is that some places don't necessarily vet you well, meaning some of them, okay, you got all this, it's a check off, blah, 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 good, as opposed to actually calling people to verify that this person is or doesn't or did or does or, is whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you have to make people do their jobs and screening people before they get to me because that's what they're paid to do.
Well, and I hear you, but in the sense of, I don't know what kind of camp you went to or something, but I participated, when I was a young man, long time ago.
It wasn't that long ago.
When I was a young man, and I participated in these kind of summer camps and that kind of stuff. It really wasn't that kind of a screening process. It was like, could you get signed up? Could you afford to participate? It was more like a money thing. And if space was available, it wasn't, really a deep diving vetting process like that. And I think that's, kind of the situation you had. I think if you'd have had something like that maybe in place with the Cam Newton situation, it may not have led to that, may not. But at the same time, the goal of when they have these summer camps, and like I said, I participated in some, as a child and seen them, in the communities I've lived in. They want to include is you want to have your net as wide as you can to catch what you can. So that's why it's no real screening process. It's like, hey, such and such is having a
so
camp.
It's a camp they had to pay to be a part of.
Yeah.
Okay, well then you lose your money and let your parents deal with you. That's the penalty.
I hear you.
Because I know I couldn't waste my mama's money, not one damn dime.
This generation, is a little different. They don't care about wasting mom and daddy's money. They just want to participate. And
well, clearly they didn't want to participate, because in participation, that means that there is a respect of authority. There's a respect of whoever's conducting the camp, so on and so forth. And even if it was harmless banter, there's a point where you realize that it's becoming serious and you stop.
Mm-hmm.
It should never have gotten to the point to where those young men felt that they could beat down Cam Newton. Cam Newton, first of all, is not a little dude, and he ain't a short dude.
Yeah.
And he's from Atlanta. Please don't assume that, that meant he was from Conyers.
I mean, he's from graduated from Westlake High School, which is, I don't know if you look it up, that's like south side of Atlanta, and you've heard the songs, you've seen the videos, so it's not for the weak.
Right.
It's not for the weak. But I listened to commentary, and Chad Ochocinco and Shannon Sharp, and their mindset was like, if that is what he if he's dealing with on a regular basis when he holds these camps, their response was he don't even think Cam should be doing it anymore if that's what you're getting when you try to give back. And like I said, I wanted to kind of bring this to Friday's show because that brings a larger discussion. Like, you have people in our in our community, the Black community, that feel along those same lines, like that's why they don't give back.
Right, I understand. And to me, and I'm being consistent with, other things that I have said and the way that I have tried to conduct myself in this space, is that, oftentimes those people really weren't in it to begin with, or were in it for a dollar amount, not the hard work it takes to deal with our youth. There's a difference between working with children who either don't grasp or might be a little hard-headed than blatant disrespect that leads to you putting your hands on me.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Like those boys are on their way to prison. They're on the short bus.
Well, they on some kind of bus. But like I said, I wanted.
Well, no, they're on the short bus, the fast bus to prison. Because that's what that kind of behavior gives you, because you don't have any fear. So there's one thing to be fearless, and then there's another thing to have a healthy level of fear, because there is something greater than you.
Okay. All right. I'm listening. And I'm of the mindset of you. But like I said, you have some that would disagree with that and say, hey, why bother?
I get it, but those are people who wouldn't do that anyway. And if your mindset is why bother, then that's not the job for you.
Okay. Well, let me ask you a much broader question.
I mean, but would you agree to that? If your mindset is why bother, then don't bother.
Well, I mean, I hear you on that, but as you have some people will use, let's say that somebody would take this incident that happened with Cam and use that as an example of why they don't see. That's why I don't give back to the community, because stuff like that could happen.
Right, but people have told me that in the sector and outside the sector about why I choose to work at HBCUs. That's not hard work. Again, you got to remember who you're talking to. I go where the people are sick, and I don't mean sick literally. I mean sick metaphorically, meaning where the work needs to be done. My students learn because of me, not in spite of me.
Okay, but now
different measuring stick.
I got you. I got you. Now, if Cam, let's say Cam takes the advice of some people and says he's not doing this anymore, even though he was doing it with good intentions, but due to the behavior of like I said, this is not an isolated incident with Cam. Would you be upset? What's going on, brother? Would you be upset if Cam was like, you know what, I just don't want to I don't want to do this anymore, just because of the amount of disrespect for my time and disrespect of me that I've received trying to give back to the community? Would you look at him a different kind of way if he said, I've been through too much, I don't want to do this no more?
I would at the age that he is now. If he were 55 and older, I could see why he might want to sit down and say, somebody else, please come take this.
I'm kind of like on the fence with it.
Everybody can't have a soft life.
I get that, but how much is too much?
And it's like those same kids that if you left them to their own devices, I'm talking about the other children who did come to get something and, did what they were supposed to do and really wanted to learn and this, that, and the third. Idle mind is the devil's workshop. I would hate to think that because I canceled my program, somebody who would have been eligible to attend my program ended up harming me because they got bored.
I hear you, but I don't know if a person, more say, I ain't gonna say they don't, but I don't think in that situation is, I don't think he would be thinking that far ahead. Like, I'm Cam Newton, I'm a personality, I can get paid talking on a microphone somewhere. I could be paid, coaching at somebody's high school or university. Why do I have to put up with this? And it does,
because that's a microcosm or a representative of what you would face at those universities and so on and so forth. Trust me, I'm sure Deion Sanders has been tried at an HBCU and at a PWI. I'm sure he has. Like, okay, so let me make a quick parallel analysis that works with this, but something that I've heard teachers say quite a bit, or college professors. We need a better student. Well, we're recruiting from the same places that all these other people are recruiting from. Sometimes students need a better teacher.
That's a completely different conversation because,
No, it is, but it's still dealing with the minds and an environment where some sort of learning is supposed to be happening. And everybody's not cut out for that. So sometimes the problem ain't the student, it might be the person who's at the head of it. And then sometimes it's the other way around.
I get you, case by case basis. I get you.
Absolutely. So that was a point that I was making. Like, sometimes it's not just the kids, it could be something that he gave off, because we don't know everything, and I'm definitely not blaming him for what had happened at all. So please hear me on that. But what I'm saying is that people looking on the outside because of what they wouldn't do say ridiculous stuff like what I just said about we need a better student. We're recruiting from the same pot that everybody else is.
I mean, I'm following you, and trust me, I'm getting everything you're putting down. It's just, part of me wants to be a contrarian, and I can understand that, because I think Cam would look at it like this. And I kind of brought it up at the beginning of the show. I don't know if you missed it.
I did. I'm sorry.
Like the Peyton Manning, the other community, the white community, they don't really have these kind of things popping up at their camps and the events that they're holding.
But they would if they went to where Cam Newton was.
So we have to account for the environment, is what you're saying.
Absolutely, that plays a role.
I mean, I don't know. I don't. I really, it's a weird place. If I'm just like thinking through the eyes of Cam, I would find myself in a weird place. Like,
I mean, Dots, think about it. Let me give you another quick analogy. Okay, so the other spaces that we're in, how many times have you heard people say, "Oh, it's just this," but then you have seen those same people in other places act differently?
Yeah, okay, yeah, I've seen that.
Do you see what I mean? It's no different. It's no different. It's how do you view the space where you are, because it says something about how you view yourself.
I would agree with that, but at the same time, we're going to use that space for an analogy. It's been times where I've kind of like looked around as like, why bother? You kind of reach a point, and I think it's like a case by case, person by person basis, where you reach a point like, is what I'm doing really worth my time and effort?
But that's normal.
Yeah.
But what have you chosen to do? Stay and not let that environment change you, because there are loyal people who do give you that reassurance and that affirmation that what you do is needed and we appreciate it. Look at this space right here. You got 2 or 3 loyal people who come or try to come at least to make a comment, to give you the, the stats for the algorithm and this, that, and the third, regardless of what you're I hate the NBA.
I know.
I have to say that. I fucking hate it.
You're gonna learn.
But you're worth me coming over here to talk about niggas I don't give a shit about. And I'm talking about the white ones, the foreign ones, all of them in the NBA. I can't fucking stand the NBA.
You're gonna learn to love it over here. But
I'm not. I'm not. What I'm gonna learn how to do is to look at it analytically. I'm never gonna like it. I'm telling you that now.
I'm like I said, and for the 4 in the chat or the 2 in the chat who's normally here.
But you get my point. It's not a diss. It's just that, and that's all it took for you to keep going. If I got one person who comes in here, I'm gonna keep going because I believe I'm onto something. I enjoy it because I don't think Cam Newton would do anything he did not enjoy. He doesn't have to.
I mean, but at the same time, you may reach a point where you don't,
right? But normally that comes in after you put time in and you have age that's knocking on the door to where you don't have the energy to deal with that negative energy that is always coming at you tenfold to deal with it. That's different. That's why I said if he were 65 or 60 and thinking about, well, I still have other options. There's a team that wants me to come and coach. I can't get, beat down, during this little thing because I've got a job I got to go to or other. I don't think he would do that.
But
I wouldn't be upset because it's an age thing. But right now, you let these 2 or 3 or 5 little knuckleheads let you shut your whole program down. The dude, I would be more disappointed in you for that.
Well, like I said, if he shut it down over this one incident or this 2, I would kind of feel the same way. But at the same time, it's been years.
It doesn't matter. You're going to always have those few who don't believe and who didn't belong. There are a lot of people who make it through. Just like I tell people, like when we were talking last week about college education and this, that, and the third, that piece of paper will get you in the door, but it's your character that will keep you on that job.
Mm-hmm.
So people will slip through, but there are always things that will definitely let you know whether you are tried and true and whether you belong there.
Okay, so back to the age thing. Cam is not in the NFL. He's not playing. You think if he was like 50, 55, you would be okay with him saying, you know what, I ain't doing this no more?
No, it's got to be 60, 65.
Retirement age? Come on now.
Yes.
Come on now. Like, like I said, I get it. I see why some people would say that because, you have to think on a case by case basis. Is this worth my time and effort? And
But it is, the youth are always worth your time and effort, because these are the same people. And I hate to keep speaking ethically, morally, long term, all the other kind of stuff, or morally. I said morally. I done made up a new word. Morally and all of that. But these are the people that if you don't put the time into them, you're going to pay them now or you're going to pay them later, meaning on your taxes or either with your life.
So basically, your advice to Cam is to suck it up, move on.
Absolutely. Like, big boy, suck it up and move the fuck out. Like, I'm sure you've dealt with worse than this in Atlanta.
Yeah, but I think his peers, some of his peers who have a bit of influence on him are saying, if you want to do it, maybe do it somewhere else. And
people always want you to go somewhere else where stuff is easy. We have to stop wanting easy. Life is not easy. Easy doesn't measure how talented and successful you are. Now, does it have to be, enslaved, knuckle busting, gut busting, oppressive type thing? No, it doesn't. But you go where you have the most impact and where you're needed, not where you're tolerated. And, mother doesn't feel like driving the new, Aston Martin van that we just bought her, or whatever. So we're going to give it a break and send you off to this little camp. And we don't care whether you make it or not, because we have money that you fall back on. And it's money bigger than what these athletes are, who are teaching these camps have.
Mm-hmm.
Like Cam needs to be there so that other people see evidence that God is real.
And I think a lot of people,
that's what his superstardom does. That's what the fact that he made it out of the same spaces that these people are coming from. That's what it represents internally.
Okay, now in that same vein, take Cam out of it for a second. Cam, you go sit on the bench. You're used to it. Take Cam out of it.
Stop it. That was more disrespectful than what they did, but keep going. Wait.
Take Cam out of it, and the regular everyday person like me and you. Are we going to be held to the same standards as a Cam? Would you hold your other people to the same standard like you would a Cam Newton? Because there's plenty of times where people come from our communities, get out, do well for themselves, and don't come back because of that fear of being quote unquote a target. That's got to be kind of talked about. You're kind of looked at as by friends, family members, people in your community. You made it out and they feel like you owe them something.
And I do. It's not what they think I owe them, but I do owe them something. These are the same communities that sent me where I had to go to get my life together. I absolutely do owe them something.
Well, at the same time,
not at the same time, period.
Because it's I'm gonna get a little personal here. It's certain places, it's like with family members and stuff like that. I just don't go because not because you didn't do for me and you wasn't part of me being successful, because I feel like what you're asking from me for the success that I achieved I think the price you're asking of me is too high. I got family members who think money grows on trees when they
right. But remember, my answer was yes, I owe you something. It may not be what you in the way you want it, but I do owe you something. I say, I don't think you heard me clearly. That doesn't mean that I'm gonna come back and give you all of my money. But it also means on the same hand that I should be able to show you how to get where I am, or use my resources to help you make your own resources. Whether it's me making a phone call, like the hookup and nepotism that white folks do. Yes, I do owe you that.
I'm hearing you.
I do owe you to put you in a position to be able to do it for yourself, but I will not handicap you by giving it to you.
And I think that's where, the kind of divide is, because you got, those in our community who feel like you owe me more than what, really what you really put into me. But you got you have where people don't feel comfortable and safe going back to their own communities because of that.
Well, let me share something super personal with you. And I don't care if this comes back or whatever, because I said it, I did it, I got in trouble for it, I stood there in it, and it was whatever, and I still keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I got in trouble for the most at the collegiate level with my own people was telling people that niggers always want you to give them something, and that my classroom is not a nigger breeding factory.
Yeah, that'll get you in trouble.
Right. But if I'm using this in a teaching context and I explain it, it should not have gotten me into trouble, because what I said was, what I mean by that is this: I'm not going to give you a grade, you're going to earn it. But what I will give you is my time to help you get to whatever your best is. But if you came here expecting me just to give you something because you showed up, this is not a nigger breeding factory. I will not add to your niggerdom if that is what is in you and that's the type of time you're on.
I'm hearing you.
There's a such thing as quality and correctness, and that's what you get graded on, not the fact that you did it and turned it in.
Now, and Ms. Murph brings up a good point, and I want to kind of squeeze this into the conversation here. You know,
sure.
She says respect is a two-way street. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not treated with respect. Could that play a role in somebody saying, you know what, I've been disrespected too many times? When I do try to give back, that, you know, it's not, goes back to that talking point where it's not worth my time. Like I shouldn't have to suck up disrespect, and I'm giving all the respect. I'm the one giving of me, and I have to tolerate your disrespect because that's what's expected of me, to give back to you.
Right. But for those young men, and I'm not justifying their behavior, but in the environments to where they come from that allows them to behave like that, talking your shit and standing in your shit and a challenging authority, trying to be the alpha male, is what they think respect is. It doesn't translate into this space.
Now, you with the situation with Cam, do you think it's more of a communication gap that kind of led to that? Because they, you know, I don't want to blame it on the new generation, but you know, their views of respect are not what, you know, I necessarily grew up on. You know, I just the thought of talking back to a grown person never crossed my mind because I wasn't raised like that. But this newer generation is like, you know what, you say something to me, I'm gonna say something to you. Damn, you know, your age, damn your position in the community, damn all that, I'm gonna say what I want to say.
Okay, so the only communication dynamic that I'm willing to submit to in that situation is that those young men may have thought that they were talking to Cam Newton like they would other players on the team, not somebody who is coaching them, because they would not talk to their coaches that way.
And I think that's what, you know, when you watch videos of interactions he's had, you see that, like, I wouldn't, you know, damn, you know, he ain't your friend, he ain't your peer. But that's how some of these young folks are raised now, when they look at as, you know, anybody is a peer of mine. They don't look at them as, you know, we're old school. We're from that generation. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, sir.
We
no,
understand environments that we're in.
Yeah.
And code switching.
Yeah, but these younger folks, and it's not all. You know, a brother said, you know, disrespect is rampant across all ages. Yes, I agree, but I think, you know, more so with young people, it's surprising when you see it. You know, like when you watch video, like I said, when you watch the videos that are out there, Cam, the stuff that's happening to Cam at these camps, like I you know, I just think to myself, put myself in that situation as a child, like I couldn't fix my mouth to even, you know, let alone say that to a celebrity, but a grown man. Like I just wasn't raised like that.
Right, but they think that they're grown men, and they're not. They're growing men.
Yeah, like I said, you know, this incident, you know, that happened has been a turn off for some athletes. Like, yeah, why would I go
But these are people who wouldn't do it to begin with, because if so, they would already be doing it because they already have the funds. So I don't want to hear that.
I'm just saying.
No, I get it. I realize that you're just saying, and I'm just responding to the stuff that it wasn't in them to do anyway. And these are the ones who shouldn't be doing it. That's what I'm saying.
I got you. Now,
and they need to shut the fuck up.
Okay, say it with your chest.
Oh yeah, and left shoulder. Lean with it.
But moving, like, can I kind of move on from this? You know, the NIL thing. You know, we've been following this, and it was a court ruling that happened this past week.
Wait, can I say something? Can I give a black girl shout out before you move to that?
Go ahead,
please. This is sports related.
Go ahead.
I want to give a black girl shout out to Miss Sha'Carri Richardson for that $20 million endorsement that she just picked up.
Congratulations to her.
Evidence that God is real. Let me tell you something. That little girl, and I'm calling her little girl because she is tiny. She might not even be 100 pounds. Has power and undeniable talent that the world has to stand up just to tell you right now who's bad.
I'm happy for her. I am thoroughly encouraged. I'm of the mindset of this.
They tried to beat her down, and she's still like, what you gonna do? Because you can't outrun me.
That part.
And you need me to represent this country because I put people on the map. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was I was thoroughly pleased and encouraged by her, picking herself up from what happened to her and achieving even higher heights.
For sure, that she was gonna achieve anyway.
Yeah,
because of who she is.
Because a lot of people would have been broke.
Broken.
Yeah.
They talk all kind of crap about that girl. Her nails, the way she wears her hair, kind of reminds me of FloJo. And all the drug testing that they did with FloJo and this and the third, because they couldn't figure out how that black woman was so damn fast. Had to be drug enhanced. No, it's natural talent.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she is her own favorite to win at the Olympics. So we'll be.
And they already know it. The runners coming there already know it.
She's one of her own favorites. I will. I don't keep up with track and field that much, but I do know that much. She's definitely one to look out for when the Olympics come. Now, let me move.
Black girl magic at its finest. But go ahead. Thank you for allowing me to shout her out like that, because she deserves it.
And Miss Murphy is dropping clapping hands in the chat. NIL. And we've talked about this on several occasions on this show. And I think with the court ruling that happened earlier this week, let me kind of read it to make sure I'm quoting it. A recent ruling by the Tennessee Federal District Court prohibits the NCAA from preventing schools from using NIL guarantees as an incentive to attend a member university. So basically,
oh my goodness,
yeah, and it wasn't just Tennessee. It was also Virginia that filed antitrust suit against the NCAA. Right now, the NCAA is told their enforcement department that was in charge of overseeing NILs that they have to kind of pump their brakes, pause, and no investigations for the foreseeable future will be conducted. Pay for play is here with these rulings in federal court. Is going to open up the pathway to where you might as well get rid of the whole fake NIL and let it be what it is. Is pay for play. It's talk of players.
Mm-hmm.
It's been discussed and kind of bantered around. It's in the early stages, but players, instead of being offered scholarships, will now be offered contracts. Your thoughts and opinion on that, because you have been in the mix, and when we tell these stories about NIL, I'm of the mindset of this. At this point, when you allowed the money in, which I thought the players deserved anyway, because you're making so much money off of them anyway. I'm of the mindset of this. If they're able to work out contracts with these universities at this point, why not?
Okay, so my conspiracy hat is tingling.
Go ahead.
So when you offer a student scholarships, that is money that comes from the school's operating budget. Okay. So if these NIL deals are not a part of the school's operating budget and they're using them in place of scholarships, to me, that's the school double dipping.
You think so?
Yes. And for me, I would say nice try, but no.
Well, here's the thing.
Because okay, so here's the caveat to that, or here's why it's a conspiracy for me, although it wasn't rocket science for you. Because oftentimes when students transfer, because we talked about this as well, if you're on scholarship, oftentimes the students are able to transfer scholarships as well. NIL deals, I don't think that's going to happen.
No. Depend. Well, certain situations.
Because the NIL goes to the school if the school is being able to use it as scholarship money.
Well, see, here's how NIL works. And it's really a fancy way of saying the booster program, because it's not, like you said, it's not in the budget.
Right.
They're able to negotiate these deals through quote unquote kind of like political super PACs, if you would.
Right.
Like Go Gator Go PAC group is the one negotiating all the NIL deals for the Florida Gator players.
Right.
With this ruling, because the NCAA was investigating schools, and the schools couldn't have any role in the quote unquote NIL deals. That's why these quote unquote NIL groups, super PACs, were affiliated but not officially. They was, we're here to get guys to come to this school, but we're not part of the infrastructure of the university. And what the NCAA was doing was investigating schools for kind of directing athletes to these PACs. Neither here nor there at this point. With this ruling, I mean, why not? I think the pressure will be on the university now that you are paying players, quote unquote, with contracts. What are you doing with the scholarship money that you are probably getting from the state or from the government, or what? I don't know how that process works. But I know the super PAC, the NIL deal money ain't coming out the school's budget. It's complete. It's like something run by the boosters. And if the boosters are able
which
to
then gives them a hand in it, because before the schools had nothing to do with the NIL deal. So this is the way for the schools to control somewhat the NIL deals and how they're being spent, and also take their percentage off the top. Whereas before they weren't getting any.
I'm following you with the conspiracy, but I'm looking at it from the player's perspective. If you're able, and I think this will if they're able to get this off, and like I said, the early discussions about pay for play players, actually signing contracts, I think that's going to cut down on the transfer portal, because I'm pretty sure if I'm an Alabama booster and I'm paying your salary, I mean basically what it is, and with your contract, you're obligated to stay here. It's almost like a real professional contract. You have to stay here for at least 3 years. You can't transfer, yada yada yada.
Hold on, can we pause for a second?
Go ahead.
Speakeasy, I just did something I normally don't do, which is go look at the chat. And the Speakeasy said he walked into some blasphemy. What was blasphemous, Speakeasy?
You were talking about the NBA.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, because he can come on up here and let me troll him like I try to do everywhere I go.
Nah, he was talking. You were talking about the NBA. That's when he walked in.
Yeah. Well, I stand on that.
Miss Murph says for the students, Miss Murph, at this point, and it's been like this for decades, you might as well be open and honest about the money that's been going to players' families, going to players directly anyway.
Right.
Why not have it out in the open? That way you're not having to find yourself in a Reggie Bush situation where we're taking away your accolades and school's accolades because a booster bought your family member a house. Like this, let's cut it out. I mean, it's college sports is big business. It's this billion-dollar business, and you got donors and super donors and all of that stuff. With these endowments and that money in their pockets, like they love their university. Let them get. I mean, at this point, I wouldn't have a problem with like a Shedeur Sanders signing a 3-year deal to attend the University of Colorado, making X amount of money. I might as well. Let's cut out the the back room. Even with the NIL stuff is like backhanded, because some of these, you look at some of these NIL deals these guys got. We're gonna give you $100,000. You just got to appear in a couple commercials for this car dealership. That's part of this super. Like, might as well just pay these guys like professional athletes, because everybody else is getting paid off of them like they're professional athletes. So might as well.
Okay, my conspiracy hat is tingling again.
Go ahead.
To me, I feel, and this is something that would take years for us to kind of see, I think this kind of is an incentive for players who have the talent to forego college. Now, you already got the one and done deal or whatever that's called, to kind of stay, at the collegiate level, and then possibly not even think about going to the professional level to play. Because if you have the earning potential, let's say to be like a Sha'Carri, to make $20 million, a lot of professional athletes in football don't make $20 million.
But with you got to understand, with college sports is different.
No, I get that, but do you see where I'm going with that? As far as your wanting to play at that professional level, or for what? It's like, what if you got the endorsement deals? Everybody knows your name, your jersey selling out, all this stuff that is normally reserved for a professional league experience. If they're bringing it to the college league, the collegiate, league, then why go to the professional league?
Well, I mean, it's an opportunity to earn even more money, continue doing what you quote unquote love to do. I look at it like this. And reason why I say college is, when we're looking at it I'm looking at it through the lens, like if I'm a booster, my favorite team, my favorite university, if I got it, you got people, these super PACs that have the money to say, we can offer a Shedeur Sanders a $5 million a year contract to come to our university. I care more about my university than his future plans going to the NFL, because I want my team to have the best players. That's why you've always had the booster system. That's why they had to kind of get around it, and now you have the NIL stuff going on. Like, I get it. It's more important for them to pay a kid to come to the University of Alabama than it is. They're not thinking about their NFL prospects. That's going to weed itself out regardless. But if I can get the best quarterback and the best players to come here, and we got the money to do it, why not? It's the same principle with these college coaches. Like, there's certain schools that know we got the money that we can do. Like, what's his name? Steve Sarkisian, head coach of Texas. This guy do deal. It comes with country club membership, comes with access to a private jet. Like, why the players can't get that? I mean, he's just a coach. Why can't the players who have been part of his success get some of those? I'm just,
because the players don't take the same risk that the coach takes. That's why.
Okay. I mean, I'm of the mindset.
That's like saying, why does the CEO have the private jet and not the entry level worker? The CEO takes risks that the entry level worker doesn't even have to think about, because it's above your pay grade.
Well, but at the same time,
ain't no same time with that.
No, because it's like you don't have the worker. Phil Knight is the CEO of Nike, but if you ain't got them jokers working in them sweatshops, you ain't selling what you think you selling. You don't have
but if the sweatshops are outsourced, there are so many more third world countries that want that work than the third world country that's already making it. You see what I'm saying? That's expendable.
I mean, but as a college athlete, I got to look at myself as a commodity. Where are you going to outsource me from? Like, you can't find a Caleb Williams everywhere, because if that was true, everybody would have one. You can't.
Not really.
I mean,
That's why they vying for his talent and what have you. That's what I'm saying. That's and again, I realize we talking oranges and apples, so I realize that. But no.
I mean, brother,
Because they only gonna have that player for so many years because he's gonna age out. So they already looking for the next one. So I don't know.
I mean, but it's
So there is another one out there.
Well, I mean, but it's some.
But you're not gonna find another Steve Jobs.
I mean, but we can.
You're not gonna find another Bill Gates because if so, it will be one right with him neck and neck, cutting into his profit already.
Well, I don't have to get Bill Gates, but give me Bill Flannery, who's not as good as Bill Gates, but does
listen. You either Bill Gates or Steve Jobs. Everybody else is just the poor imitation of the innovator.
But hold on, brother of a certain age, basically, you have to be a superstar to get the biggest money. That I agree. So moving on to the pros will probably be the goal in the wrong run. No, yes, I mean, but think about it's certain players that that are generational talents, and you don't
have to be a superstar. You have to be consistent.
Well, you just have to be a superstar to the right team.
Right, but you don't have to be a superstar. That's why they have multiple rounds of drafts.
Well, see, you thinking about pro. I'm thinking college. College is I need.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know what he was talking about. Remember, I'm not looking at the chat.
Okay, yeah. So we're talking college. Like, yeah, I get it. In college, you have to be like the highest, number one recruit to get the biggest money. But at the same, I hear what you're saying. Your replacement is coming next year because they're going to still be recruiting. But
absolutely.
I'm not concerned about what you bringing in after me.
Like they don't have coaching succession. We already talked about that, but they definitely got player succession.
But I'm not worried about who you bring. It's like let's say professional sports. I'm Dak Prescott. I'm not concerned about who you're bringing in. Let me take care of me. I'm gonna take care of me before anything else happens. I don't care who you bring in, who your new running back is, the new backup court. I don't care. I mean, because that's just the business that we're in. If I'm a college athlete, I like it. Let's go ahead and stop the farce and let's go ahead and break these players off properly. Because guess what? The NCAA is getting broke off properly. These universities.
Oh, absolutely. But these are the people and the places and things that take the larger or the bigger risk. Because if something goes down with college sports, they're suing the NCAA, not the player who committed the whatever and the whatever. That's what I'm talking about. And I realize I'm preaching to the choir, but just for recording's sake, that's what I mean by the bigger risk. This is why they get the lion's share of the pie.
Yeah. I mean, but
now I got for equity, but I also understand taxonomy and hierarchies.
Speaking of like in brother of certain ages is slapping it into the NBA. The NBA gets as far as as far as the revenue, players get the larger portion. The NBA takes the quote unquote bigger risk, but they know which side their bread is buttered. You don't have the players, you don't have the revenue coming in anyway. And college athletes have to kind of like look at themselves like that, like if
but they're not.
Well, they need to start with the like I said with this rule by Tennessee. Pay for play is pretty much it's going to be wide open,
right? And but the NBA. So this is the one thing I will give the NBA that the NFL and a lot of other organizations, professional organizations, don't operate this way, and the NBA does, along with the Major League Baseball. Everybody playing in those organizations are like independent contractors, and the money goes wherever they go, not with the team. So it's just as much about the player as it is the team. So like wherever LeBron goes, they're going to build a team around LeBron. So he's the change agent for that.
I hear you, but college
like football, they don't do that. Like the NFL, they don't do that. They say they are with the recruiting, but in NBA, we see it done with people moving in packs. Like when they did the LeBron, the D Wade, and the who was the other one?
Chris Bosh.
Yeah, Bosh. Like we don't see that happening in the NFL. We see it moving tools like with Brady and Gronkowski. but we don't see, we don't see them, moving like that. It's like that's a rarity.
Yeah, but I'm of the mindset, and I'm still gonna pay the players. Let's go ahead.
No, I'm with you on that. Pay the players. But and I said this, I want to go on record as saying that I predicted this. The more they try to dig into the weeds of all of this, and the schools realizing what they're missing out on and all this other kind of stuff, and there's data that we need to see so that certain things can be put in place because of data sets suggest this and that it's going to get nastier and messier, and it's going to be it's going to be a clusterfuck of shit before it becomes something that is beneficial and works the way it should.
Well, we're pretty much at that point now with with these rulings in federal court going against the NCAA and paving the way for pay for play. I'm with it. I love it. I love it. Let the players get a bigger piece of the pie. Let them get a bit bigger piece of the pie. Is billions of dollars floating around. Let them get their cut. Let them get their cut. They've earned it.
I don't think so. Just because you play well in high school doesn't mean you earn it, because part of being a college student is what you do in the classroom as well.
Well, I agree with that, but
nobody's talking about that part of it. Like, it's almost like that part doesn't even matter, because again, if you're a student who is on academic probation, then you're no longer an athlete.
Well, listen. I agree with the academic part, and I know that's a point, a real good point from you. But the academic point, but at the same
just for
time,
me, not the rest of the world. I'm on that island by myself. Okay,
no, I'm just saying.
I'll stay there.
But nobody is caring about the University of Alabama academic program. That's not what's bringing in the money. That's not what's bringing in the revenue. These universities been knew that. That's why it's all
right. But they said that at the University of Chapel Hill, University of North Carolina and Chapel Hill, about their football team, and it's not even like they the best of anything until they ended up having to revoke 10 years of degrees because they noticed that all the football players were majoring in Portuguese and can't none of them speak it.
Well, that's that's an academic thing now. That's
right, but it was academic thing driven by the need to have this team.
But some of those nice facilities that professors and professors enjoy come off the
dots. Just admit that there's some BS.
It is.
Okay, that's all I want from you. Can a good sister with her heart in the right place for the plight of Black people who's concerned about global leadership just get you to say some BS?
It is some BS. But this is the world that we live in.
I was about to give up on you. Say, can I speak to Miss Dots? Damn.
No, this is the world that we live in. Yes, it is BS, and academics should be important if you're going to be in school. I totally
even agree. With these NIL deals, it should be like somewhere in the forefront of the language. The purpose in going to a college has just as much to do with academics as it is like when you are a student -athlete, that becomes one word. That's not an either or.
But the focus is more on the athlete than the student.
Well, I don't care what the focus is, but what I'm saying is don't take away from that point. And all of this talk about NIL, I would like to see someone get an NIL deal because you are number one in your class.
That ain't happening.
Oh, well, thank you for just killing that right away.
No, I'm just saying, for those you want that kind of a deal,
Well, no, okay, let me take that back. NIL deal because you are a student athlete and number one in your class, or you're a student athlete and you're number one amongst all student athletes.
They're not going to do NIL deals for that.
Why? Because that person's sitting on the bench.
that person, yeah. Not necessarily because you got some student athletes who are valedictorians, but we're not most they're not sending out recruiters to watch you in the classroom. They send recruiters out to watch you at the game, to see what your talent.
My concern is that these NIL deals are gonna create student athletes who don't have a plan B.
That's a risk. That is a risk.
That's
But
the long and the short of it.
I mean, but would you rather have that risk with no money to fall back on? Because
Yes.
they're in the same boat now. If they don't have, if
Yes, I would rather have that risk with no money to fall back on, because these students who get these NILs are not going to have money to fall back on anyway.
This is a healthy argument. Let me get, this is a healthy argument. We'll continue this next week, because I got to start preparing a body for the other space.
Well, listen, and I need to go put on my white dress so I can, usher the people in and make sure that they are, that there are no people passing out. I had special printed fans just for this person.
Hold on, how many people over here? Just 3, 4 at the moment. Hold on, let me give y'all a sneak peek, just in case y'all don't make it to the part. Hold on, let me.
Oh no, I'll be there. Miss Murphy will be there too, because she's head of the usher board.
See, Miss Murphy got a sneak peek earlier this week. Hold on, how long is this clip? This clip is let me just slide this in, because I want to see how it plays out on the screen, because I put this together like 20 minutes before this show. And hold on, let me put it in. Here we go. Hold on.
Thought you got away, huh, babe? Now you're laying dead. But we ain't settled this yet, right? Where's my money, motherfucker? Where's my money, motherfucker? I want my money. Funeral no.
Okay, that's just a sneak.
So who's carrying the hair?
I don't know.
Energy.
It could be anybody. I left that to the imagination.
Well, it would have been breaking had she not broke off, but I would say that is conscious energy carrying hair.
Hey, I know how to shake speakeasy out of the clouds. Just show some bullshit, he'll come out. Speak, man. I got to get ready to prepare this body. I've been working on this, and of course, we know we have music to play and video tributes and stuff. Like,
Lord have mercy. I don't know. I listen. I just don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. Like, we got to give Speak a well-defined position. Like, is he going to be the driver? Is he going to be the one who is going to, usher the family up to view the body for the very last time? Like, is Speak going to be, the deacon who brings on the pastor? Like, Speakeasy needs a job.
We're gonna find a role for him.
Is he gonna be the ombudsman? Is he gonna be, the bodyguard for, Ms. Dots, to make sure that, if somebody's not happy with what you did, that, there's no repercussion at the repass? Like, what?
We got security on deck. Trust me.
Well, that's what the ombudsman. Well, no, that's the person at the college level. The armor bearer. That's what I meant to say. Is Speakeasy gonna be the armor bearer?
Yeah, but it should be a pretty fun show. And I finally felt motivated to go. I was like, I ain't did but one show over here this month, and I'm good. But the people asked for it, and I said I would do one. So so let me get prepared. I got to get my suit on and stuff, and you make sure my music and stuff is prepared.
Don't forget your handkerchief, because just in case there's a couple beads of sweat, because we want your best nastiest work.
Yes, it's gonna be some nasty work. Matter of fact, hold on, I'm gonna give y'all another sneak preview. This hold on, this a quick one, because I ain't gonna play it all the way through, but I know when you see this, you know where I got it from. Hold on.
Forward to a long, strong, productive relationship. I don't want to blow my own horn, Well, I'm really qualified.
You shouldn't have to blow your own horn. You should leave that for someone else to do.
Okay, that's enough. Y'all can't.
I just threw up in my mouth. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna drop down. Like that's a way to get me up out of here. I just threw up. Listen, so I do want to know this before I leave.
Mhm.
Will the choir be performing the song that I love so much?
Oh, which one you talking about? The one I did that video too?
The reason why I sing. Because you know this man was about music.
I can slide that into the rotation.
Okay. As long as the choir singing, I can make it through. But if not, I might have to come up there and borrow your handkerchief, and Miss Murph might have to escort me out.
Oh, let me get my behind ready because
Okay, let me go brush my teeth again because I did throw up in my mouth. Thanks for having me up as always. I really enjoy and look forward to this Friday show.
yes. I do too. And be back here next week because we're gonna be talking about some NFL combine stuff.
Oh, for sure. You know, I've been watching.
Yeah, I've been watching too. Some of these guys, these defensive linemen, Cowboys. Hey, you might want to start looking at some of these big boys. They moving.
Oh, and speak easy. When your son actually makes it, I will be a fan of your son, but not the NBA. Okay, that's the best I can do.
Speak say, I'll take it as long as the check clear.
Oh, I cannot. Good
Okay.
evening. Y'all have a good only because of all the hard work Misspeak has done. This has nothing to do with you. So with that being said, peace out, and I'm gonna go to the left.
All right. Appreciate it as always. All right, y'all. So let me get my behind ready. I gotta make sure everything is in place. Yeah, speak. I was gonna put like the whole video. I was like, you know what, it's about a minute long, but we got another video presentation. Woo! All right, let me get my behind up out of here. Like I said, next week, we'll be back on more NBA content. We will be doing a special show with the NFL Combine. Kind of looking at some of the top prospects, some of the news coming out of that. It's been reported that people are talking about Jaden Daniels being the number 1 pick, possibly. Teams are falling in love with him, falling out of love with Caleb. We'll see. Maybe it's just bluster, maybe it's just smoke and mirrors, but we'll talk about it next week. Let me get ready for the other space. Y'all know where to find me at 10 o'clock, as always. Enjoy out for the phrase the page over here. Truth sounds. Oh, damn, I'm in the wrong goddamn space. Get it together, Dots. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but every time you learn. And I'm out.